Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a chilling journey into the darkest corners of human history. Today, we confront arguably one of the vilest torture instruments known to mankind. The Judas Cradle, often referred to as the Seat of Agony, this notorious medieval device starkly illustrates the brutal, punitive measures of its time. But beyond its gruesome reputation, what was it really? How did it inflict such suffering? And what controversies surround its true historical use? Stay with us as we uncover its chilling reality, its contested origins, and why it continues to haunt our imagination today. The Judas Cradle was a contraption of stark simplicity. Designed for devastating efficiency, it consisted of a pyramid-shaped seat, typically made of wood or metal with a sharply pointed top. Its structure could resemble a stool, with 3 or 4 upward-pointing legs. The victim, often stripped naked, adding to their humiliation, would be suspended above the seat. Usually with ropes, the torturers would then gradually lower the individual onto the sharp point, allowing their own body weight and the force of gravity to inflict immense pain. The pyramid tip was intended to be slowly impaled and stretched into sensitive areas, such as the rear end orifice for men, or the vaginal orifice for women, or even the scrotum to intensify the torment. Torturers sometimes applied oil or grease to the point. To ease penetration, tied weights to the victim's legs, or even rocked the person from side to side, forcing the spike further inside. The impact on victims was devastating, both physically and psychologically. Physically, individuals suffered substantial injuries, including deep wounds, tissue tearing, and potential infections due to unsanitary conditions, often leading to lasting bodily harm or even death. In fact, infections were incredibly difficult to deal with in the 16th century, and there's no record of the chair ever being washed. Many victims who survived the immediate ordeal often succumbed to their injuries later. However, the Judas Cradle was not merely a tool of physical agony. It was primarily a method aimed at psychological torment and eliciting confessions or compliance. Victims were overwhelmed with fear, helplessness, isolation, and profound humiliation. The mere thought of being lowered onto that sharp point was enough to make most people spill the beans. Whether their confession was true or not, the psychological torture could lead to severe, long-term mental health issues, such as depression and anxiety disorders. Victims might faint from the experience, only to be revived and subjected to the ordeal again. This brutal device found its primary application during the Spanish Inquisition, a period infamous for its rigorous and brutal methods of punishing heresy and maintaining doctrinal conformity. While specific records of its use are sparse, due to the secretive nature of such proceedings, it was allegedly employed to extract confessions from supposed heretics. The device's use also extended to European witch trials, where similar apparatuses were claimed to have been used to elicit testimonies of witchcraft. In a broader sense, it was a tool of governance in medieval Europe, where fear was a primary tool to suppress dissent and enforce conformity to religious and political norms. The Judas Cradle was known by different names across Europe. In Germany, it was the Judas wedge, in Italy, Culla di Giuda, or Cradle of Judas, and in France, La Val, or the Wake. The French version was particularly cruel, as victims were left on the chair and forced to clench their muscles to stay awake. If exhaustion caused them to relax, the spike would penetrate further, often finishing them off. But here's where the story of the Judas Cradle gets even darker and more complex. Its historical authenticity is hotly debated. Critics argue that many discussions around the device are shrouded in sensationalism, questioning the reliability of some accounts and proposing a more critical examination of historical evidence. Some alternative viewpoints suggest that such devices might have been symbolic representations of wider societal fears rather than frequently used tools. Indeed, the Judas Cradle, as it is commonly understood, is largely a myth, a sensationalized legal fiction likely originating in the 19th century. It shares this dubious historical standing with other infamous devices, like the Iron Maiden, which is also considered a 19th century literary invention, presented deceptively in museums as authentic medieval torture. The lack of definitive historical records leaves much room for debate about its actual prevalence and effectiveness. A critical part of this controversy surrounds its alleged inventor, Ippolito Marsili. While the device is widely attributed to him, Marseille was in fact a real historical figure, but his true profession was that of a legal scholar and jurist, not a torturer. He was an opponent of cruel physical punishments. His actual contribution to the history of torture was documenting sleep deprivation as a method of psychological coercion intended to wear a subject down mentally without inflicting outward physical pain. The peculiar claim that the Judas Cradle was originally considered humane and only intended to disturb sleep is likely a distorted echo of Marcial's genuine work on psychological torture. Twisting his observations into the grotesque, physical device that bears his name, this strongly suggests the physical form of the Judas Cradle is a later fabrication. Regardless of its exact historical prevalence, the Judas Cradle, whether a frequently used instrument or a potent symbol of fear, serves as a grim reminder of humanity's capacity for cruelty. It underscores the extremes to which institutions and regimes have historically gone to maintain power and control. Modern perspectives overwhelmingly condemn such devices as symbols of the extremes of human brutality and cautionary tales of unchecked authority and dehumanization. The Judas Cradle's enduring presence in museums, books, music, and even video games compels contemporary society to reflect on the evolution of human rights, the limits of punishment, and the importance of humane treatment within judicial practices. It reminds us that understanding historical human rights violations is crucial to preventing their recurrence in modern times. And that brings us to the end of our chilling exploration into the Judas Cradle. What are your thoughts on this controversial device and its place in history? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into dark history, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next fascinating investigation.